So, from everything I've read, if you can't keep gas in your garage, which I can't because I rent my garage, you really shouldn't let your gas go less than this in situations such as we're going through right now. And if I ever need to make a run to Canada, which to me the closest way to get to Canada would be go to Windsor, my car won't make it on one tank of gas. It would make it, I think, on a tank and a half. But it was just reading, like, never let it go beyond a third when gas prices are fluctuating like they are, or you think it might be an emergency situation where you need to bug out or anything like that. So we are at Costco to get a hot dog, just because I feel like having a hot dog, and to go fill up the gas tank because right now this is the cheapest gas around. So you have to excuse, because I have some jury rigging going on here, because my web camera broke and I can't afford another camera, another vlogging camera. Well, I never had a proper vlogging camera, but I can't afford another web camera to do vlogs on right now. But y'all said, not y'all, two of you people, only two of you, said you were happy to see me again. And you know, I don't get much love anymore these days. I mean, I never got much love in general, except when I was like in my early to mid 20s and was still hot. But you know, when you become like a postmenopause, I hate the word postmenopausal, but a postmenopause woman over the age of 50, you definitely notice that nobody sees you anymore. That's another conversation for another day, and that is not what I am here to discuss. I am here to discuss the state of Tech Nation, the state of the world, the state of this channel, and just to say hi, because some people were very happy that I was saying hi again. And if my eyes are wandering, I'm not used to having to look at this camera thing over here. I'm used to it being in the middle, like where normal camera should be. So please excuse me for all the mistakes I'm making. Like, hey, I decided to do a video today just because I've been promising to upload a video to YouTube again and try to get on schedule. I always say this and I don't do it. And I've been procrastinating. I've had gear trouble. I've had all types of things going on. But today I said it's a day. No excuses, just get it done. Like with anything else in life, there's no excuses, just get it done. So let's talk about this channel for a moment and the changes that I thought I was going to make. But tech being tech, I love talking about myself in the third person. Me being myself, it's very hard to control. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Controlling who I am as a person and being something that I'm not, I've never been very good at. If I had been good at that, I would be CEO, CIO of a company by now. But unfortunately, I keep it a little too real and, you know, too straight from the hip. And some of you love me for it. More people probably hate me for it, but at least you know where you stand with me. And where I'm going with that was that I had intended to try to stop talking about politics so much on this channel. Just because I would like to get monetized at some point in time. I would like to grow my audience. However, I'm going to say the same thing here that I've been saying during the day job, is that when politics start to affect my day life, it makes it very hard for me to not talk about politics. And some of the things that I will be talking about as I pivot this channel has everything to do with the state of the nation where I live now in the United States. And just being a 50-year-old woman who's just fucking tired. My ass is tired. I think a lot of women, when they get to this point in their life, they just get tired. They get tired of fighting the same old fights. And this is going to apply to a lot of the topics that I'm going to be talking about on this channel. And you start really looking for peace and really choosing your battle, picking your battles. And I'm realizing that some of these battles I don't feel like fighting anymore, because not only am I sick of the battle, but I don't find the people that I have to fight those battles worth my time. I don't find these battles worth my effort anymore. And I'm just really wanting to be, I'm at that crone stage probably of my whole cycle of life, where I'm not the maiden, was it the virgin, the maiden, and the crone? I never was a maiden because I never was into kids, you know, fuck them kids. Don't misinterpret that. I like other people's kids. I'm not mean to kids, but that's never something that I was interested in doing. So, and all the manosphere can come at me, bros. Just come at me so many different ways. It was never something that I was interested in. But as I go into, I sound like I'm dying, the twilight years or these older years of my life, I value my peace a lot more. I'm trying to find that peace because I have not had peace. So I'm finding it a lot easier to pick my battles. And that has a lot to do with, the way the politics have been in the United States. Things are getting worse for people like me in this country, and I'm tired, and I am sick of trying to appeal to people's better angels because they just don't care. And you can say that I'm just giving up. It's not about giving up, because if people want to really do something and make changes, sign me up. But signing me up to go march in the street with a Stanley Cup and have a social hour and twerk around in furry costumes is not my idea of making social or political changes. I don't have time for that stuff. I'm too old and I don't have time for that bullshit. Sorry. So where I'm kind of pivoting with this channel is I just want to talk about being a badass woman who's in her 50s and getting older, who's looking to stay in shape, still have adventures, still be a badass self, fitness. And I'm actually looking to become, to leave the country within the next 5 years, to become to expatriate myself from the United States. And we'll talk about that further in other videos, but I'm already in the process of trying to figure out how I'm going to leave here within the next 5 years. I'm spinning up an old business. I've started another business. I'm trying to monetize this YouTube and see if I can get people interested in what my old ass has to say. And hopefully these videos get better. But I just want to document what it's like to still, I don't really know how to articulate this very well, but I see so many videos of older women who, when they start talking about peace or talking about slow living and la 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 la, I don't want to be slow. We ain't going to be slow. I'm fixing my motorcycle because if I'm going to sit there and be paying over $5 for gas, then I'm going to sit there and, be riding my motorcycle where I can get 100 something miles a gallon on my tank, because my ass can't afford this stuff. I can't even afford a new web camera. I was hoping to go compete in a jiu-jitsu tournament we'll get to it. I was hoping to compete in no-gi this year in the European no-gi championship. Well, because of all the fun that we're having, our little excursion to the Middle East, I was looking at airfares to Rome, which is usually where it is in October, and they're running for plebeian class to be $1,300 round trip. Who's got $1,300 to go fly coach to Europe? I don't. I mean, a lot of people would say like they don't have $675 to fly round trip to coach to Europe, and fair, absolutely fair. I understand that. I get that. So the fact that there was a point in time when I could afford that, I understand that I've had a lot of privileges that I worked hard for, which, yes, I did all the things of working really hard, and look where it got me. It didn't get me anywhere. It got me better than some other people, but it didn't get me where the promises that were made to me. But $1,300 for a round trip ticket is far more than I can afford with $5 gas. Can't afford a new web camera. Can't afford to fix my car. Groceries are expensive. I can't afford to buy new clothes. It's just insane out there. So I won't be doing that. In the meantime, as you can see from the first part that I put on the video, I wanted to document how it's like to be an older athlete trying to still compete in combat sports, and document me being 8 weeks out. That didn't work out. Tried to do it 5 weeks out, then come to find out that city of Chicago has decided that they're going to rip up my alley, and I've had no access to the alley in the morning. I've only had access to the alley at night. I like to train in the morning. I like to do my lifting and my jiu-jitsu in the morning, because when I work during the day, I'm tired by nighttime, and I need my sleep. I don't get hangry, I get slangry. I need to sleep, because if I don't sleep, that's when I get crabby. So I try to go, I sound so old now. I try to go to bed like at 7:38, unless I go to jiu-jitsu late, and then I'm back home by 9:30, and I'm just too wound up to fall asleep. So sometimes I don't fall asleep to midnight 1, and then I need to get up at 4:35 to go lift or go to jiu-jitsu the next day, and it just doesn't work out. Find out that this week that I may not even be able to get out at all, because I think they're tearing up the other part of the alley. So I have a tournament in Barcelona, which I signed up for back in January, because I did not know at that point in time that Barcelona was one of the most expensive cities in Europe. I just signed up for it because it's much cheaper to register for Jiu-Jitsu IBJJF tournaments far in advance, because they are terribly expensive in my opinion to begin with. I was already in Lisbon. I'm like, yeah, let's go to Barcelona. Should have looked up the prices in Barcelona to see how much the hotels were, because I am actually not staying in an Airbnb or hotel. I am staying in a youth hostel because I cannot afford the 4 nights that I'm going to be there, because I'm flying in, taking a day to rest. Maybe I think it's a day or two to rest, and then I compete, and then I fly back to the States. So I'm staying in a youth hostel, except they're not really youth hostels anymore, but I'm staying in a hostel in a shared room with 8 people that I do not know, in a bunk bed, which again, I'm too old to be doing that shit. But we tough it up, suck it up, buttercup, in order to be able to afford it. And because I had a credit, because American Airlines screws up all the time, so you can get free flights with American Airlines, I think, very easily. I had a credit that bought that ticket, which if I was trying to buy that ticket now, my credit wouldn't have been able to cover it, because the airfares are just, like, think about that guy who was running for president, and his mantra was like, the rent's too damn high. Everything's too damn high. So even though I'm not able to train properly for this tournament, and I haven't been documenting like I want to, and this is just not going the way that I planned it as well, this could be the last time that my butt gets out of the United States anytime soon. Because if you look at prices and gas futures, I think I read somewhere in the last 48 hours that they're saying that gas coming under $80 a barrel, which I think is where it was before all the shenanigans started, is looking not to happen until like 2032. Well, that affects the gas prices, that affects the food prices, that affects everything. And so, like, I'm in triage mode. I work in IT. My jobs are very, tenuous at best. I'm looking to probably end up getting laid off again. And if you follow the channel from the videos that I deleted, it's been a pretty bad 3, 4, going on 5 years. Things have stabilized. No, I wouldn't say that they're good. They've stabilized. I don't make the money I should, but at least I can afford my rent and not much else. But who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen in the next 2 days, much less 2 months, much less 2 years. So with all those things in mind, that's why I'm making a pivot on the channel to try to not talk about politics, but it looks like, as you can see, it's still going to come up. But maybe I won't do long videos anymore where I just rant and rave about the state of the nation, because in some aspects I don't give a flying fuck about the state of the nation anymore. As I said, my ass is tired. I'm in my crone stage of life. I want to retreat into the woods where it is quiet and I only have to listen to forest creatures, and not to children screaming, and not to my neighbor blasting rap music at 1 o'clock in the morning, or people's drama about clavicular maxing and just all of this shit that I'm just like, oh my God, everybody needs a spanking. Everybody needs a spanking. And I know I'm going to probably get some comments from people like, corporal punishment in children is bad. You know what? Some of these kids need a whooping. Okay, I'm using some vernacular right now. I don't think they need a whooping, because when I think whooping, I think the belt and I think welts on people's behinds, and I don't think that's okay. But a good swat on the butt, never hurt anybody. And I think if more people gotten a good swat on the butt when they were a child, so that they knew that their parents loved them, maybe they wouldn't be behaving the way that they are right now. And I'm not going to name any names, but because there's probably too many names to list at this point in time. But the stuff that I see, I'm like, you needed a spanking as a child, you needed to get punched as an adult. There need to be consequences for the behaviors. But I think the other consequences of wokeness and open-mindedness and both sides got us here at this point, and we're all suffering for it now. So I ended up ranting about politics and going into the usual tech diatribes. I'm a very smart person, but sometimes I don't pronounce words properly, and I'm noticing as I get older, I think that's a sign of probably dementia. I'm having a little bit more issues with pronouncing things because I don't speak to people all that much except at work, and I don't use big words. I don't use big words anymore, because the one thing I'm noticing is that people younger than me have a hard time with big words. That's because they don't read anymore. They don't want to read. They don't have vocabulary. I'm going on a tangent, but it doesn't matter. That's all I wanted to say. I'll leave you with a little tidbit at the end of this. Hopefully this video won't get taken down. I am going to really try to upload again on next Sunday. Hopefully I can get some sort of training videos up, something. I'm going to try. It all depends on if I can get to the gym. It all depends on my training partners. Oh, one other thing that I will say, that one thing that was really cool that did happen this week is I taught my first jiu-jitsu class on Friday. No, I am not a black belt. I'm just a purple belt. However, it was a women's free community martial arts class. And for the first 45 minutes, the other instructor taught Muay Thai. And then for the last 45 minutes, I taught jiu-jitsu. It was a free class for people to come in. And apparently the instructor really, really liked me and has asked me to come in and teach again. So we'll see what happens with that. I had a really, really good time. I'm hoping I can get girls from my gym to show up, because it was a free class and not in the normal jiu-jitsu schedule at that school. So everybody there was super, super brand new, and it's very hard. I'm learning it's very hard when you are teaching a physical skill. I've been a personal trainer. I'm a scuba instructor. That's more one-on-one or a much smaller group, so I can keep my eyes on everything that's going on and stop the mistakes before they happen. But when you're trying to teach a class of, I think we ended up having five groups, 5 pairs of people trying to teach a class, and people are completely brand new, and you show them the technique and you tell them to work on it, and you have to go from person to person to try to correct it when there aren't people who have a little bit more experience. Is very difficult, because meanwhile they're confused and they don't know what they're doing, and they're just sitting there, or they start yip-yapping, or they're doing it wrong, so that's reinforcing bad technique. And I'm trying to give everybody my attention, because this is important to me. I really want to get more women training. I want to get more women my age training and younger women training, because I'm seeing some other issues going on in combat sports in general, which is understandable. And that's another conversation for another time. I really should bring back my podcast. I need to find somebody to do the podcast with me. Somebody who's into jiu-jitsu or martial arts to do the podcast with me. It's difficult because I don't follow MMA anymore. I think you know why. But even in just the jiu-jitsu world, God bless Craig Jones. God bless Craig Jones. But that's another conversation that I need to be careful what I say sometimes. I just see some issues. Some places are better than others, but I would say as a whole, I'm starting to see some problems again with women participating in jiu-jitsu, women competing in jiu-jitsu. There were far more when I started than I see right now. And it could be just where I am in the Midwest. I said I was going to go take a look at some of the brackets and tournaments that are going on the East Coast. And it could be that just people are not competing in IBJJF as much because it's expensive and they're more going to ADC in the local tournaments. But even so, it's difficult. And it's even harder for me because at my age and my belt rank, I'm lucky if I get 1, maybe 2 people when I sign up. And every single tournament so far, it's only been 1 other person in my bracket. When I've had open, there's been more because then it's all the different weight classes. But 50-year-old women doing jiu-jitsu, competing, if they aren't really doing it at white belt, do you really think they're doing it at purple, brown, black belt? They aren't. And I think this is a really good conversation because of some things that have been said for another time. Anyways, I am running long in the tooth with a lot of rambling. I didn't expect this video to be perfect, but at least there is a video. I will do my best to get you another video on Saturday or whatever cadence that I do. Start posting more tips about training when you're, 40 plus, especially if you're doing jiu-jitsu. And, yeah. Hope to see you around. Thank you for the love that I did give. Please, 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 please like this video and leave a comment because that does help the algorithm. So like this video, leave a comment. And hey, if you've got questions or something, let me know because maybe you'll help me give me some ideas for content. I've got some ideas for content, but I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to be as transparent as possible without being thrown in jail, losing my day job, kicked out of my gym, stalked in the street. That might be kind of exciting. Or any of those things. Otherwise, yeah, I'm done. Y'all have a happy Sunday. Bye.
Let them come up.
This is not necessary, Mr. President. We have a diplomatic solution.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Secretary, the missiles are flying. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Sorry, last minute addition. There was no way I could upload this without adding that final clip at the end from the movie The Dead Zone with Christopher Walken and Martin Sheen. It's an 80s movie based on the book by Stephen King, which the book was fantastic. The movie's good. Stephen King was at his best when I think he was still doing cocaine and was a drunk. His later books, I don't think are very good. But the reason why I included it was because someone on a Blue Sky group had posted a picture of the president from the movie. Well, he's not the president, but I don't want to give the synopsis of the movie away. Martin Sheen is not the president yet, but he is running for president, and Christopher Walken has psychic abilities, and he can see the future. So this is a clip of Martin Sheen if he becomes president. And considering the totally unhinged, insane shit that Dear Leader said today, and the fact that I was reminded of it from what somebody else put on a Blue Sky post, I had to include it. Please, please, please go rent the movie. It's worth seeing. It's a product of its time, but it's one of my favorite books, one of my favorite Stephen King stories, and it's a good movie. And you can't go wrong with Christopher Walken. I mean, come on. It's a Christopher Walken movie. All right. Happy Sunday. That's all I've got for you. See you next Sunday, if not sooner. Bye.